Reflux! Yay! Right,
Hello.
Yay!
This sounds
Zone
Another,
like
of
a
the
Leonard.
Enders.
yeah, another. Is this a classic? I'm not entirely sure. Like, I've heard of it plenty.
I mean, if
The
you've heard of it
the
and it came out
the
that long
game
ago,
is a classic, yeah.
Which way does the adaptation go? Is it game to anime or anime to game?
Um, Zone of the Enders is a game that was made by Konami and Hideo Kojima.
Yes, that I'm familiar with.
Um, and then they made an anime based off the game.
Ah, okay. Cool. So yeah, this was okay. like, mm, mm,
I actually like it.
yeah,
It's just like very different take than what I'm used to.
yeah. We have seen a lot of fucking Gundam knockoffs, and I don't know whether we've actually watched Gundam as part of this in specific.
I don't think so, actually.
But we've watched a lot of shows that use a very similar template. This one is different because it's kind of Gundam by way of Fifth Element, I guess.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
That's such a good way to describe it. It's very Fifth Element.
Kind of want to watch that film again now, just apropos of nothing. Just it popped into my head, and I'm like, yeah, I could watch it.
If you were to do a live action version of this, you'd cast Bruce Willis.
Probably. I mean, he. How old is Bruce Willis? He might actually be a bit old for the role at this point. Then again, the main character does get called Grandpa a lot, so
Yeah.
Also, the point of his character was to be old and grumpy, so it just gets it's just a better fit as time passes.
yeah, I guess so.
I mean, already we have the Die Hard movies for Terrible Father, so hey, it works.
What a shitty thing to get typecast as. You have the look and sound of a terrible father. Well, thank you. I appreciate that very much. I worked very hard on
very
putting
hard
the
on it.
exact.
It gets me paid.
Yeah. All right. We're not talking
Hollywood's
about Bruce
worst.
Willis. We're talking about we're talking about Zone of the Enders. Yeah.
Zoe.
Yeah. Or Zote. I mean, if you're doing the of, then you've got to do the as well. So the Zote.
You say that, but it is commonly abbreviated as Zoe.
That's cute. It's Zote. So, Zote opens with. I'm just being a prick at this point, but still. It opens with Drunky McDrunkerson. I want to say his name was Nate. I literally finished watching this like 10 minutes ago, and the names have already gone out of my head.
I watched it like last week, so I have even less of an idea.
Was it Joe? I don't know. Space Delivery Man is
James.
James. Okay. I don't know when Nate came from. He
I don't know.
is Space Delivery Man, and he's drunk. But he has finished a job and gets his pay and his mail. Sees a pretty lady. It's just kind of there at the same time. He and the mail clerk just stare at her for a few seconds, so presumably she's important. He goes to look at his mail, which is like video mail and stuff, because it's the future and thus has shittier technology than the present. But it was in 2001, so it's that's That's how
He
old
had to
sci-fi works.
plug in a USB drive that was. He had to plug in a USB drive that was given to him, though. So, like, it was essentially real mail. It's just a video someone mailed him.
You know, that actually probably still makes sense if you're, like, doing stuff in space, because, you know, internet is probably a thing that is not quite there yet for traveling that distance. So you would still be doing the Australian method. Messages. Yeah, you would still be doing the Australian method of shipping pen drives and shit, flash drives, to people across the continent, because it's just faster than the internet to just ship it. Yeah. So yeah, he gets a video message, presumably from his daughter, because that's a big thing in the course of the episode. And she's like, "Hey, I don't care, leave me alone and forget about my birthday. I'm not a little kid anymore." Cool. That's... I get it. I went through that phase too. Of, like, just don't get me anything. I don't care. But still, you feel for him. He's, you know, just trying to connect.
Well, you feel for him until you see 5 more minutes of him. He's not a very redeemable character.
I mean, yes and no.
Not right now, at least.
Like, he immediately... His daughter sent something in the mail specifically to give him the brush off. That's kind of got to be a shitty feeling. To then turn around and go, okay, fuck it then, I'm going to go to a bar.
She put an effort to say, don't bother.
Yeah. That's kind of rough. Like, wow. So yeah, he sees that, and his plans for actually getting her a birthday present and stuff just kind of go out the window, and he just goes to a bar instead. Tries to hit on the woman from before, and she is not interested because he is really, really... I'd say he's bad at it, but he's not. He's not even trying. He's just using her as an excuse to vent and bitch about his kids. So, while drunk.
I thought... Did you watch the dub?
Yes.
That would explain it then. In the sub, he was going on about one of his glory stories in the army or something.
Huh. Interesting. That's an interesting change. I'm being silent, but I'm honestly wondering why they would make such a change. Like,
Your guess is as good as mine.
I guess from the perspective of he's talking about his
into the mic,
glory
please.
Stories. So I think that it's like he's trying to talk himself up versus just venting. It's a difference of character. I think maybe they decided that if they were to change it would make him more relatable / likable for an American audience.
I guess, yeah. Yeah, like for the Western audiences, family being... Well, obviously family's still important in Japan, but for the sake of the dad, it's less about child rearing, I guess. That's not the dad's role in a Japanese household at all. Whereas in the West, it has increasingly become a role for the male parent.
Yeah.
So that might be why. So focusing on that more than him trying to actually win the woman over with how great he is No, I can't talk myself into appreciating that. Like, a lot of times there are really good reasons for changes like this, but I think this one maybe it was kind of unnecessary and goes against what the character's supposed to be.
I agree.
Like, to compare it to another one that is somewhat well known but not especially well known, is like the first episode of My Hero Academia, where in the Japanese, the main character is talking himself up about, I'm gonna be a hero, it's my dream to be a hero and stuff, but he also kind of knows it's bullshit, and it's less a dream as in ambition and more a dream as in a daydream, like a fantasy, which sells to the Japanese perspective because they aren't actually allowed ambition most of the time. That's not a thing you can do. You are expected to be a drone most of the time once you grow up. Whereas in the Western ideal, if you want to do something, then fucking do it. So, in that sense, if a Western audience were to see the Japanese version of that character, they would find it a lot harder to root for him. So that's why that change was made, because the idea was that it's to try and get the character over. Whereas in this case, either way, it's kind of to make the guy look like a bit of a shit. But for the Japanese version, it's just making him a shit. Whereas in the English, it's making him a shit, but also trying to get him to be sympathetic. So, I don't know. Or maybe it is exactly the same thing in both languages and both cultures, of like reminiscing on your glory days is supposed to be sympathetic because, you know, such days are behind him and he is just kind of a sack of shit now, and that's why he would be sympathetic. It's an interesting thing. I'm not entirely sure, and we'll probably never know. We could look it up, but I don't know whether there'd be information on that. In any case, so he gets drunk in the bar, and then another lady shows up and gets incredibly grabby immediately. Then some mobsters show up that this woman is apparently seeing one of them, and the mobster immediately goes, "Hey, why are you touching my woman?" While he's clearly not. Like, it's very visually obvious that she is grabbing him and he kind of wants nothing to do with it. But, you know, macho...
Big mafia man's got a flex.
Sorry?
Big mafia man's got a flex. I mean...
Yeah.
Especially when he has a inferiority complex because of apparently where he's born.
Yeah, they make a thing a couple of times about how Martians, because of presumably lower gravity, they're a bit frailer than humans are, which makes sense, scientifically speaking. I don't know whether Mars has actually got lower gravity or not, but scientifically speaking, yes, that would be a thing. If you are on a planet with lower gravity, then your bone density and muscle strength would be weaker because it's not being compressed as hard and as constantly. So that's a nice detail, you know, nice background detail. It's, you know, not quite leaning on hard science.
Yeah, the Mars is Earth's gravity is 2.66 times that of Mars.
Yeah, that's a lot. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So, guy gets dragged into a back alley and is like, I honestly don't give a shit about your girl, dude. I really don't care. But if you want to throw hands, fuck it, I'm down. I'll beat up a Mars pansy. And the guy's like, Mars pansy, huh? Yeah, okay. Gets one of his goons to take his coat and then rips open his shirt to show muscles, and then basically beats the shit out of the guy. The woman apologizes for getting him beaten to shit, but fuck you, honestly. Like, Jesus Christ. What's wrong with you? For several reasons, but the mob guy steps on, what was his name, James? His photo.
Yep.
That fell out of his pocket. And then that's pretty much the end of that scene. There's not really anything significant about that beyond that. We did miss a bit.
Space Trucker.
Yeah, we did miss a bit, which was him getting offered a job to transport a pink crate. But the guy that offered it was apparently pretty shady and had screwed him over in previous jobs. So he's like, no, fuck you, I'm not doing that. I got better things to do than get screwed over again. But in this moment, he has a bit of a change of heart, which is basically realizing that he's a complete fuck up and that he actually does want to get involved with his kids again and try and fix his family a little bit. So he goes to the guy again, who apparently does quite well with the women despite being, pudgy glasses dude, which you don't really see very often in anime, so fair enough. And is like, hey, I want to do that job. And the guy's like, nah, the job's already gone. I gave it to someone else. And the other guy immediately got arrested, I guess. So, guess what? You can do it, I guess. That's cool. They requested you specifically anyway, so this works out. So James goes and gets... Sorry?
Sorry. Was it arrested or was it bloodied up and left as a corpse in an alley? Because I thought that happened.
It wasn't especially clear. I think he mentioned someone grabbing him. So I presume that means the police were involved. Like if it was just him getting beaten and or killed, he would have said something very different, I presume.
Point taken.
Again, that was in the dub, so I don't fucking know. Anyway, so he's got the job. Yay. He goes and buys some books on parenting and a cat as a gift. It's like, hey, maybe one of these books has the secret to fixing my family, kind of thing. Yeah.
He doesn't know what he's doing, but he's trying.
He's trying, A for effort. So they put the crate on the ship. He has a little chat with the little kitty cat. Like, just like nice moment. His cat. It's cute. Every show that has a cat in it gets a bonus point from me. Because I'm easy like that.
That's fair. I can agree with that.
Apparently the cat's name is never said in the English dub. But its name is Pete.
Pete?
Yep. Pete the cat.
All right.
Fair enough.
Take away the second E and it's Pet the Cats.
Yes.
Yeah. So big takeoff sequence. Woo! It looks like they basically have the Mass Effect relay system kind of thing, of the ship getting put in a thing and then shot out like a bullet. In the middle of this,
most sci-fi settings have something like that.
Sorry.
I want to say most sci-fi settings have something like that.
Yeah.
Well, this is Kojima's sci-fi.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get with Kojima's sci-fi. So, in the middle of the launch sequence, someone comes wanting to inspect the cargo, and they're like, oh, fucking, you're a little late for that, mate. This is going. Like, tough shit. So the ship launches, and he's like, yeah, cool, we're off and going. And then he's reading the books. Fair enough. Like, that is another point in his favor of, like, you bought a lot of books. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to read them. So going to the effort of reading them, fair enough. Actually making the effort.
It does help, yeah.
Yeah. So he falls asleep while reading them, has a dream about presumably his wife, who is not in the picture for reasons that have not been explained. Wakes up in the middle of space. Something seems to have gone wrong. Goes down to inspect the cargo, hearing of someone singing a song that his spouse sang for somebody. Like, it was a song that she sang that he recognizes. He asks if there's anyone inside the crate, and a voice calls back, and he's like, "Hey, wife," I forget her name. Like I say, I forgot all the names. And she was like, "No, I'm Dolores. I didn't forget that name, I guess."
It's in the title.
Yeah, that's why. So
the crate opens. Dolores.
Yeah, the crate opens, and there's a Gundam inside. A Gundam that can move and talk.
Named Dolores.
Which is immediately portrayed as strange. So good on them for establishing that that's fucking weird. And they have a chat, and James is apparently her destined sir uncle.
Destined Oji-san probably is the Japanese equivalent. So like Oji-san, you know, but they didn't have a good translation, I guess.
My understanding is the translation for that would be destined old man.
I mean, she calls him uncle, and she's singing a song in his wife's voice that his wife sang before. It's probably something like, I mean, it's heavily indicating that his wife is involved somehow.
Like maybe his wife built the machine.
Probably.
Yeah. So that all happens, and he's very confused. No one is piloting it, so they check that. Then more of the inspection ships show up and immediately demand to inspect the cargo. I was like, oh, okay. Lets them in. They have a look around. They look at the crate, scan it, and see, hey, all of the previous holders of this cargo are now dead. We should really look at this. And then that guy immediately gets shot by one of the other guys. Conspiracy and such. Because it's Kojima. That's. Yeah.
Thanks, Kojima.
So they both get shot, and we have a very brief fight scene in the cargo bay. The Gundam blocks bullets that James was about to get hit by, and he's like, "Ow, that hurts." Okay. He does an interesting thing that I don't think would work, but action scene license, you can do that. It's fine. He shakes up a beer behind his back and then opens it, and it shoots like a rocket and hits the guy. There are several reasons that would not work, but okay.
Even in Zero G, I don't think that would quite work.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Like, all right. It's kind of the same reaction you have to have to the Totally Spies laser scene. Like, all right, fine, whatever. Don't think about it. The writer obviously didn't. It was just a cool thought that they decided to put in. So, then the bad guy gets into his own Gundam, and in response to constantly nearly getting killed, James demands to get inside the Lady Gundam. And she's like, no, that's weird and gross. Like, yeah, okay. We're very much playing on the whole she has, like, weirdly human ideals of, like, how things work. So, an old man wanting to get inside her uncle wanting to get inside her. So, yeah.
Don't think too hard.
Yeah. So, eventually he manages to do so. And they go into space, and they have a little wrestling match in space. And then she does a fucking seismic toss onto the surface of a moon, I think. Cool. I thought that was okay.
I like seismic tosses.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much where it ends, of like, what the fuck is going on? This is super weird. The episode ends. This was okay. This is probably more than okay.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a solid show. Not really anything that I'm overly interested in seeing more of, but it's definitely nothing bad.
I like Space Trucker.
I like two things specifically, and I'll be perfectly honest, it might only because they're kind of novel in the genre, or subgenre, rather. One is that the robot is very, very obviously sapient. Like, that is always a thing in these fucking shows, but they are 100% upfront about it in this one, so I like that.
It's that uncommon that they're not.
Yeah, like,
it's that uncommon that they are, rather.
Yeah, like 90% of the time, they'll play incredibly coy with the concept for 90% of the show. And then in the last couple of episodes, it'll be like, oh, you were alive this entire time. You were helping me. That's not a twist if every show does it. So I like the just being, okay, yeah, robot's alive. Cool. Moving on.
Yep.
And the other thing I like about it is this dude is an old grizzled dude. He is not a 15-year-old boy.
That is nice.
He's been around the block once or twice.
This might be the exact same reason that I like the original Western Nier over the Japanese version, where it was an old dude instead of a little kid. Because fuck, I'm so sick of the Oni-chan bullshit. I swear to God.
And he's somebody who you can kind of relate to. Like, you know, he wants to make up with his kids. He wants to be a better, you know, father and everything. And
yeah, like
he's lived a pretty full life.
Yeah, like when it comes to relating to characters, it doesn't always have to be quite so direct as a lot of these shows like to be. Like I say, they are very fond of having the target audience be the main character of these shows. You don't really need to do that. It's perfectly fine to have the main character be someone the audience recognizes. They don't relate to them directly, but they have someone in their life that they can relate this character to.
Yeah, like, you know, you probably met somebody like this guy.
I have 3 of this guy in my immediate family that I can think of. 4. I apologize. 4. That's
Right.
what working class will get you. But yeah. So it doesn't have to be direct, and it's appreciated when it's not.
Yeah, like this guy reminds me kind of my own uncle, you know?
Yeah, like there. It's just a fact of life that pretty much everyone is going to know an older dude who's doing his best but is kind of a fuck up. I am probably also that dude too.
Don't stare too deeply into the mirror.
I turn 33 in a couple weeks. Anyway, yeah. So, So yeah, it doesn't always have to be direct. So that's why this still works, and why it being novel is so much better than just another in the parade of 15-year-old chosen one boys destined to pilot the Super Gundam that will save the day, and it turns out is secretly sentient and has been protecting them the whole time. Like we say a lot about how Evangelion kind of deconstructed this stuff, and that doesn't mean it stopped it in the slightest. Like, it happened, and it pointed out how all of these shows fucking do this, and they do it like in really sugary sweet terms, but there were still a lot of shows that were exactly like that after that show. So it's nice to see something that's breaking the mold a little bit. It's not exactly, completely reinventing the genre or anything like that, but it's playing with the formula and doing different things with it. And I am just realizing I remembered that Hideo Kojima is a huge film fan, so he probably absolutely did base this on Fifth Element.
Yeah, with Bruce Willis.
Was that out when this was made?
Oh yeah, that was like 90s.
Yeah, that was definitely out. Zone of the Enders first came out. The game first came out in 2001.
Yeah,
They were like Fifth Element has been out for a while at that point.
I have to imagine Hideo Kojima watched that film in theaters, and then the next day he was in the Konami offices saying, "Hey, I've got this great idea for a game." Like, that's how I have to imagine it went. Yeah, this was okay. Any other thoughts?
Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't bad. It didn't grab me. I could see where it grabbed other people, though. Maybe I'm just tired of that genre and those tropes.
Oh yeah, to be perfectly clear, I don't actually like this genre, and I wouldn't watch more of this either way, because I just don't like the genre. But yeah, this had some things that I could appreciate about it.
I haven't watched a good
I do
mecha show
appreciate
in
the
years. Or a mecha show at all, so
I feel
Alright,
like
I'm rolling the one.
I did that thing where you watch the best part of a thing, and then everything else is just downhill from there. So I probably shouldn't have watched Gurren Lagann quite so early. Whoops.
Yeah.
I rolled a 10.
J, then.
Yay! That's my favorite letter.
We're running out of shows in this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Only 9 left. Soon to be 8.
9. Okay. We get 5.
5. Good. We do not come on one that was vetoed previously. Jungle de Eco. Translation, let's go to the jungle. Interesting.
I've heard of this one before.
Oh wow!
It's one of
Okay,
those
that's
really old ones.
that's a cover.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
the summary?
All right.
Wow.
The archaeologist, father of a young girl named Natsumi, returns from a dig in New Guinea with a statue as a gift for his daughter. Unknown to Natsumi is that the statue is the seal for the god of destruction and chaos, Ongo. She releases Ongo when she puts on the jewel earrings of the statue. Instead of being a horrible monster, Ongo turns out to be a super deformed jungle boy. Natsumi then has a dream where Aham, god of earth, appears before her. He is a perverted old shaman that has a large horn covering his private parts. Aham gives Natsumi the skull necklace that allows her to transform into the extremely busty flower goddess Mi. And she has a customizable face. It's spelled like the me thing. The me.
Yeah.
To transform, Natsumi must do an erotic and perverted dance transforming where she seemingly orgasms. This sets the tone for the rest of the series. Oh boy, does it! As any other magic that female performs is accompanied by a dance.
You know, we've got 4 of us here for once. Should we just all veto this one?
I mean, I'm not gonna.
This one is a bit infamous.
Is it?
So, I won't veto because I kind of want to know just how bad it is.
Yeah, no, I want to know. I have to know how bad.
In terms of this genre specifically, we've done Aiken. I don't think we can go that bad ever again. Like, it can't ever be that bad. Except for Chubra, but we're not going to do Chubra.
Go on parody that.
If you want to veto, you can veto, Patient.
The only reason that I'm even considering not vetoing is that I'm on this show so little nowadays that I don't know if I'll be here when we do it.
That's a fair point.
Concern.
I can't blame you. That's being tactical.
I mean, if you want to run the numbers, there's probably like a 50-50 chance. Because, like, the times that we don't record on Sunday, we also don't record on Tuesday a lot, so...
Yeah. Well, seeing as how everyone else is so interested in seeing it, and by everyone else, I mean 2 people and 1 person who isn't going to veto it either way. So, yeah, against my better judgment, I will not veto.
Okay, guys, we have to totally watch this. We have to totally do this next episode on a Sunday. That's what it's got to be.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to be here next Sunday.
Well, then it looks like we won't be able to record for the next week, so that's a shame. We'll just have to push it to the week after. It's just...
That's a shame.
Oh, you're that insistent. You're that insistent, Casey?
No, I'm not going to be that much of a dick, but, you know... I'm not gonna lie, I considered it. Alright, the stupid jungle sex anime we're gonna do, I guess. Fucking god. Alright.
Suddenly that you could return to the mecha genre.
No, I'd still prefer this, to be perfectly honest. Alright, bye everybody.
Bye.
See you guys.